No, that's fine. Good evening. This is John Harder with episode number 132. Ways of building wealthy, healthy, and happy local communities using TBC. Welcome to this live broadcast. Serene's welcome for tuning. Thank you. Welcome and thank you for tuning in. I see there's also, there's 4. So there's Pete is likely there. Thank you very much for tuning in, Pete, if you are there. Pardon? I didn't. But he would have had a notification, I think, but if maybe not, I don't know. Truth shall prevail. Many of us have become aware of the kind of world that we're living in. How the media, how the companies, the major corporations have taken control of all the media, all the world, media in the world. And this has this has caused very much death, wars, all kinds of horrible things in the world. And where does it all come from? Because of people having gained control of the monetary system, of the one thing that we need in our lives, that we need to create or to have to simply make a living, which is money. Now, of course, had we known all of this all along, we wouldn't have let it to get to where it is. We would not have allowed that to happen. But this was all done in huge secret, and obviously by controlling the media is how humanity was deceived. And of course, then these people, they would use the problem creation solution idea. And so, well, what does that mean? Well, that simply means that they create a problem like 9/11, false flags, create a huge problem to devastate and create fear in the hearts of people, and then come up with a solution. Of course, creating this false flag attack, and then quickly find somebody to blame. Oh yeah, there. Okay, that's who did it, and here's why they did it. Yeah, here's why. This is the reason. Obviously, we got to do something about this. And of course, people don't want war. Who wants war? We don't want war. Of course not. But when a false flag like that has been, oh boy, on American soil, these people, they're attacking us. We're under attack. We're under attack. We've got to do something. You see, that's when the people come to the point, oh, you know what? But we got to do something about it. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And of course, they have solutions. Of course, they have solutions. That's what they wanted all along. But all in deception. Humanity having no idea what is going on. But now that we know, and it's amazing. It's amazing. You know, we have now, it's been years. It's been years since many of us already knew. I remember helping, you know, when my brother brought his truck to my shop. We would work on his truck sometimes almost all night long, and we would get into this sometimes, and we talk about this. You know, there are obviously people that are sitting in the shadows, pulling the strings, and forcing governments to do what they do. And of course, we had no idea who these people were. At least as far as I can remember, we had. I don't recall ever having any clue who they were, but we knew there was somebody. We knew it, and I think this is actually. I think many people, they have the idea that something like that has to be going on, because it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And here's an amazing discovery that I have made here by talking to people in Mexico who knew nothing about any of this. But when I explained to them, el dinero mexicano no es mexicano. No es mexicano. El dinero canadiense no es canadiense. El dinero de los Estados Unidos no es de los Estados Unidos. El Federal Reserve no es federal. No es federal. All of this money, whether it's Canadian, whether it's US, whether it's Mexican, whether it's Peruvian, whatever, it is not what it appears to be. The money isn't of that country. And so one of their first questions is then, I tell them, there's nothing Mexican about this money. And there's nothing Canadian about the Canadian money. Well, then the first question is, well, what is it then? And I tell them, there's cartels. There are banking cartels that are in control of the money. And they control the major corporations. The major corporations control the governments. And the governments, obviously, are here to enslave humanity. That's what the governments are put there to do, to enslave humanity at gunpoint if necessary. So, and then the question becomes, well, how do we fix this? And this is where the good news comes in. This is where very, very good news comes in. See, here's what I tell them. Hay una moneda que no está controlado por los bancos centrales. There is a money that is not under the control of central banks. And I explained to them that this says the banks have, and then usually I ask them, do you know about Bitcoin? Have you heard of Bitcoin? There has been a couple that have, but mostly no. Most people, they've never heard of Bitcoin. And so I explained to them that it's a money that exists on the internet that cannot be controlled by the central banks. And if they know Bitcoin, and then I explained to them that there is a money that it is similar to Bitcoin, but it is not actually Bitcoin. It is a money that has been created to change the entire economy in the world, to give the power back to the people, to create communities, local communities that function wealthy and healthy. And you know, I always thought that Costco and Home Depot and Walmart and all, I thought that was in the US and Canada. It's here too. They are here too. Now, I would have always figured that those companies, being stuff in America is and in Canada is like 2 or 3 times the price as what it is here. I would think, well, what would those companies want here? But you see, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the price is. The competing to whatever the prices are, it doesn't matter. It's still, they're still here competing. Why? To suck the wealth out from humanity. That's what those corporations are for. They have been created for exactly that. And if people would understand what the Home Depot is doing, what Walmart is doing, what Costco is doing, they would stop shopping at these stores. If they would understand, these chains are killing local economies. They're killing local business everywhere. They suck the money out from the local population and send it to the major corporations, to the banking cartels. Who do you think owns the Home Depot? Who do you think owns Walmart? Well, obviously, some of us know who owns Walmart. But these major chains, they are owned. They are owned by very high up people. And they found ways to suck the wealth out of the local, compete with prices by giving larger quantities and all kinds of ways, impoverishing local communities. That's what they do. That's what they are designed to do. That's what they're designed to do. This is why TBC, the Billion Coin, is such great news. This is why the Billion Coin is such great news for local economies. Worldwide, everywhere. Local economies. The economy has been set up to become basically one global economy. This is dangerous. This is way too much central control. Way too much central control. Everything begins to be controlled by just a few people. This is evil. This is evil against humanity. And who can stop it? Us. We can stop it. We can stop it. But not if we keep in ignorance. Not if we keep ignoring what we already know and not tell people. We need to spread the news, guys. We need to spread the news. We need to let people know why this world is going downhill so fast. Why are local economies being drained? What's happening? How does this happen? And it's actually very easy to understand, you know, as some of the people, I think almost all of them, once I explained it, what is killing local economies, they see it clearly. They see it clearly, what is going on. And this is why TBC was created, to change the economy. You see, once we start locally trading in TBC, as some of them already do in places, and of course we need enough people in the area to have TBC, and of course it's a wonderful way of spreading it by accepting TBC as either part of the payment or maybe 1 day a week, or somehow incorporate TBC as we're moving forward and building the economy. You see, it's first of all important for us to spread the news about what's going on. You know, let people know what is killing their economy, what is killing their local businesses, so that people understand. You know, let me tell you something. In Coaldale, when we lived in Alberta, this is getting how many years ago now? 7, 8 years ago? We lived in Alberta. In Coaldale, I don't remember now where this was, but I was driving by, and I remember driving past this sign quite a few, and some of you maybe know what I'm talking about. But there was this sign in front of one of the businesses there. It said, "Support local business." And you know, not giving it much thought, I just kind of shrugged it off. Yeah, whatever, you know, business is business, right? Whatever, yeah, all right, yeah, people want you to spend your money here, okay, whatever. But I did not give it any in-depth thought at that point, what that sign was really saying. And I think sometimes we do well to pay heed to even just a couple of words, because when we understand what those words are saying, what were those words saying? We could have read that sign in a different way. You see, it said support local business. All right. But it could have also read, don't kill local business. Don't kill the local economy. Don't kill the local businesses here. It could have been saying that. It depends on how we look at it, right? Depends on how we look at it. Now, support local business, a sign like that, we say, well, okay. And I remember saying, well, okay, in Alberta, my boss there, he would quite often order parts from the States. And I remember him ordering a part from the States that we needed for his truck. And in Canada, in Lethbridge, he could buy this part. It was going to cost, I don't remember the exact price, but it was $70 some. It was just about $80. and he ordered it from the States, and after shipping and everything was paid, I believe it was $27 that he actually ended up paying for that exact same part. Now, when we say support local business, well, sometimes you wonder how far should we take that, right? Because even as much as you want to support local business, but there comes maybe a time where that just hardly pays. I don't know, but we'll figure that. I mean, sure, people can figure that out, I'm sure. But my point still is this: that when we take our money, our local community takes their money to these big chains, and from there it gets siphoned away. This drains the economy of cash. Now, let's think about it this way. If a person is low on blood, if the blood pressure is too low, this is dangerous. Now, high blood pressure, of course, isn't good either, but low blood pressure is also dangerous. Blood needs to circulate in a person's body at a nice pulse, at a nice rate, and it needs to have the right pressure for a person to be healthy. For a person to be healthy, the blood needs to flow freely. It needs to flow freely. When there is too much, whatever you call it now, and the arteries build up, you know, and whatever all of this is, that they say is caused by oil, too much oil and too much fat and all this stuff. Guys, that's actually not true. That has actually nothing to do with it. It is the poisons in the water, and it's the chlorine and the other poisons that are being put in the water. That is what builds up that hardens the arteries and builds up the stuff in the arteries. It's not the fatty foods. No. No. Matter of fact, we need fatty foods. And now, when we look at all of this, we see the deception in that too. We see this deception in that too. And the doctors will even tell you this. Oh, if the doctors say it, then it must be true, right? That depends on what book they read it in. Depends on what book they read it in. You see, my experience with doctors have been that they have no idea what they're talking about. They don't know. All they can do is take your symptoms and try to match them up in the book to a drug. Simple as that. Anybody who can read can actually be a doctor, except maybe a surgeon. You would need some extra training. But as far as matching drugs, that's all you need to do is be able to read. And even then, the drugs, many of them are actually dangerous. And this is actually fairly common knowledge, that more people die from the drugs that doctors give them than actually die from diseases. So, seriously, we need to use what's up in here. We need to use that and you know, follow the money. Follow the money. It tells you very much. When you follow the money, it really tells you a lot. Okay, so who stands to gain from hiding cures, from keeping cures that have been available long ago? Follow the money. You'll soon find out who profits from that kind of stuff. And as well as many other technologies that had been invented many years ago have been shelved, and then people were killed, you know, because they had figured something out that was going to give humanity either, you know, free energy or cure them of cancer, cure of whatever. And then those people, they were soon found floating face down in the river somewhere, or had committed suicide with several bullets in their head, whatever, you know, these kind of things. Now, let's get to the solution of all of these problems. Let's get to the solution of this. Because the solution is, first of all, knowledge. Knowledge is power. Let's say this phrase a few times. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And when we understand how the system works, then we can find solution to make it work better. This always works, always. When a person has any kind of disease and you understand what the cause of it is, then you can fix it. Then you can fix it. I know this firsthand. When the doctors couldn't figure out what my illnesses were, and when we lived in Alberta, I went to the doctor several times. And when I came home with the second medication that the doctor prescribed, and my wife asked me, she says, "Are you going to try? You going to try that after what you went through yesterday?" And I thought about it, and I said, "You know what? No, I'm not going to." And so I totally just did not trust the doctors with their drugs. And then as this carried on for a couple of more weeks, and I thought, okay, I'm scared. What am I going to do? I began to check it out for myself. What is causing these kind of symptoms? And when I caught on that the cause was mental stress, well, the next thing was to find out what causes mental stress. What causes that? You know what causes just about all of mental stress? Poverty. Poverty. That's what causes mental stress. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. We were born to thrive. We were born into this world, into a very, very abundant world, to live a life of joy, of true joy, a life of fulfillment where we can enjoy the things that we love. That's what we were born to do. And when we are deprived of that kind of life, that causes mental stress. Because the mind is made to flow freely and create. Create. We are creators. We are creative beings. Our mind is ever creative. And when we are deprived of being able to create what we were made to do, that causes mental stress. Your body is a reflection of your mind. Mental stress reflects in the body. That's where illnesses come from. That's where diseases come from. Mental stress reflects in the body. Sickness is a reflection of mental stress. And that is why those are the reasons why we get sick. Now, if we can overcome this, which is the answer again, is TBC isn't really the only answer. But I say it this way, TBC is a wonderful tool that really helps us meet that need. The answer, the real answer is knowledge, understanding. That's the real answer. TBC, however, has come along for a tool that once we understand, it's a tremendous tool that helps us in solving the problem. We are here to solve every problem that we come across. It's natural. It is natural that problems are there for us. That's natural because we are creators, and every time a problem presents itself, the only thing we need is a solution. A problem is never a bad thing. Problems are not bad things. They are a good thing. They make us more creative. And so all we need to do when we come up against a problem is we find a solution. And that is what TBC is. It's a solution to the monetary problem that this world has. It is a solution to the monetary problem that this world has. So now, when we share with people, and if we can get them to understand what is causing the poverty, the poverty in the world, that it is because of the money being controlled by banking cartels. Now we can also offer the solution for this. But we have to make sure when we train people about all of this that we make it clear. You can't just get some TBC today and go and buy everything with TBC. It takes time. It's a progress. It's a progress. We need to see the picture. We need to see the big picture. And we work our way towards it. Right? So when we tell people, we clearly share with them that there is a solution. There's a solution to the problem. And once they understand the problem and they understand the solution, it really is not that difficult to give people a free gift of TBC. Once they understand that this is a solution to the monetary problem this world has, right? So if you're watching this video and you have gained from this video an understanding about what our problem is in this world, that the underlying problem that is worldwide is that the money is being controlled by an elite. Oh, I hate to use the word elite because I just don't believe those people they deserve to be called elite. That just wow, But by people, by really the biggest criminals in the world, they have gained control of the monetary system, the one thing that we all need. And we can change that. We can now change the monetary system to a system that they cannot control. And with that, we can change the economy. We can change the economy from an economy of poverty to an economy of wealth and prosperity. That is what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. And this new economy, it is going to change just about the entire industry. And one way when we look at this, there is people who have been made so busy that they hardly had time, and this was done intentionally, for people to be so busy that they would not have time to start thinking about how this world operates. Don't try to figure that out. That's one of the reasons people were kept so very, very busy, barely getting by. I think you can understand what I'm talking about. And so now that we have this knowledge, we have this understanding about what's going on, and we have a solution for that problem. I would say we are ready to move forward aggressively in a very, very big way, really. We can aggressively move forward and share TBC with people, share the free gift. And especially if we can get people who are salespeople, if we can get people involved who are salespeople, who already have an audience, these are people that have a better influence and can incorporate TBC in what they do, if possible, right? If possible. Well, let's acknowledge those of you who have tuned in to my broadcast here. Serene's, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Marjorie, for moderating again. Susan Harder, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Jacob Harder, thank you very much for tuning in. Crypto Review, Pedro, thank you for tuning in again as well. And we have, let's see, Kiara, Susan. That's nice. That's nice. I love those greetings. You know, I love that sound, Kia ora. It has this nice ring to it, and it means greetings. So I've been told. It's awesome. All right. Okay, so that's all that is here in the chat, but there were a couple more, I believe, that were possibly just listening in, but that's okay. That's okay. Thank you so much for tuning in. And now that we have the understanding as well as the solution, we can move forward aggressively. I kind of like that tone. I kind of like that idea. We can now move forward aggressively and share TBC. I want to share a verse with you from the Bible. And I think most of you will know what I'm talking about. You likely heard it before. And there is a verse that says, "He who sows sparingly shall..." I'm going to let you finish that for yourself. "And he who sows abundantly," or in abundance, and the verse likely doesn't say it exactly like that. I didn't read it just now. But he who sows in abundance will reap in abundance. What does it mean to sow sparingly? The sowing is in your mind. That's where you sow. You sow in your mind. And if you sow abundantly, then you will take the right actions to reap abundantly. So let's not sow sparingly. Let's sow abundantly. Sowing abundantly means seeing the riches in your mind, seeing it develop, seeing it, creating the picture in your mind of the wealthy economy that we're building. sowing abundantly. The sowing is done on the spiritual side, and then on the physical plane, it'll show up. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. And again, have a wonderful day or night or whatever it is that's in front of you. And thank you so much for watching.